Hi there, it's me, Monika Wahi, giving you some demonstrations on the use of SAS On Demand for Academics, otherwise known as SAS ODA. In this video, I'm going to show you more about automated processing of datasets for ETL into a SAS data warehouse using macros and macro variables. Okay, this video will probably not make much sense to you if you don't watch my previous video where I demonstrate taking the original dataset named chap8_2 and processing it into 12 different monthly datasets. In that video, I read in a dataset that has multiple states in it. Florida is coded 12, for example, and has multiple months in it, coded 1 through 12. So in that video, I showed you how to split the big data set into monthly data sets using macros and macro variables, and also the where clause. Now, in this video, I'm going to demonstrate another ETL thing we do with SAS and data warehousing, which is where we read in a file, process it, and then export the processed version, but we do that with a super complicated macro. That way we can shuffle in monthly files one at a time, transform them, and then spit them out. I'm going to show you an example of one of these super complicated macros. First, we have a twist in this video. We are going to be importing our data set from folder X, mapped to libname X, like we did in the last video, but this time we are going to output data sets to a different folder, which is named Y, and we map it in the code to libname Y. Okay, so up here is the simple version of a data step that we are trying to automate. See this code? Let's break it down. Data y.jan2018_FL means we are asking SAS to output a data set named jan2018_FL into the folder Y mapped to libname Y. Right. The next line is set x.jan2018, which says read in the SAS file x.jan2018 that was output from running the code in the last video. Right. And the next line is an if clause. If_state equals 12. 12 is Florida. That's why we want to name the output dataset y.jan2018_FL, so it has a suffix. This is a very normal thing to want to automate. Of course, we want SAS to automatically do this for all 12 months. So that's what we do in this macro code down here. So this is enough code to kill a horse, right? But don't be scared of the code. Here, we'll take it line by line. Let's start with the part of the code that tells us we are making a macro. See this code sandwich between macro and mend is the entire macro. And we see that we are naming the macro keep_FL. And at the end, we are running the macro. So that's where we start with the code. Here's me turning off system options in hopes SAS ODA doesn't complain at me. Okay, here we have the let command. That's a hint, right? That means we are setting a macro variable. The macro variable is being declared as M. And M is set to equal a list of what will turn into prefixes for the names of the data sets that will land in Y. See them? Jan, Feb, Mar, etc. Okay, so that's a macro variable. Okay, now here we have a do loop with the end command. We can see that this do loop is setting the value of J to the iteration number, and that number is going to be 1 to 12. Okay, we have 3 lets inside this loop. These macro variables are inside the loop, so they reevaluate each time we come around. The macro variables they are setting are month, outfile, and infile. So you can imagine where this is going. We start with month, and we set this to a value that is, well, it's a substring. See the substring command? You can see the ampersand with M and with a J. So that means we are calling up the current value of those variables. Since they were set at the beginning of each loop, the first one is going to have M be Jan and J be 1. What this basically does is tell SAS to read in the 3 characters in M that pertain to the loop iteration. So If you are going through the loop the 7th time, where j equals 7, the substring code would make month be set to the 3 characters JUL, read in from the M variable. Once we get month to be the 3 characters we want, we can set the name of the out files and in files to have the month variable in the name. And also we can add the suffix _FL to the out file for Florida. We also can set the lib name so we are outputting to Y and inputting from X. Okay, here we finally get to the code. Recognize this code? This is the macro version of the raw code I showed you above. All right, let's first load this macro into SAS's brain by highlighting macro demand and running. Okay, great. Now let's go back to our code and highlight our macro call and run it. Okay, so here is Y, and here are our automated output datasets with all the right names and the FL suffix. The most important point I want to make is that if you want to run a SAS data warehouse, you are constantly designing code, especially ETL code, and working on it. You start by crafting efficient data step code, then, step by step, you transform it into a macro. I demonstrate this in my book, Mastering SAS Programming for Data Warehousing. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully, if enough people read my book, we will have some gorgeous data warehouses out there. And I hope you have a gorgeous day.